After clearing up the corrupted, Fogado escorts us to Solm's palace, wherein the guards address him as Prince, inflicting confusion upon our crown royals. So Fogado reintroduces himself in the same manner as we first met, of course adding the fact that he's the Prince of Solm, and despite this, everyone is still skeptical. Back with Evil Vale, Zephyr reports Alear's whereabouts and Vale chooses to play the waiting game to steal Solm's ring from Alear later. Evil Vale is then hit with exhaustion, passes on instructions we're not privy to, and leaves Zephyr in charge. Back on the Somniel, we have a D-rank meal with Fogado and Yunaka. The hard difficulty has been unlocked for strength training, and I get the S++ rank for push-ups on my first try. Sommi is fed and pet, we catch some new fish, train Clan to level 12, and with my 5 Master Seals, I promote Alear to Divine Dragon, Clan to Mage Knight, Louis to General, Ivy to Lindworm, and Alcris to Terror Delete. Finally, we get to our only support conversation for this episode, where Yunaka is called into Alear's chambers and she thinks she's there for punishment, but on the contrary, Alear is thankful for her accomplishments so far, and so am I with how well she did in the previous chapter. We take a rain check on meeting Solm's queen and travel back to Brody's arena for Paralogue 3. The interior is similar to Arena Ferox from Fire Emblem Awakening and thus has strong ties to Lucina, who proposes a trial to improve our, what I presume, bond limit. In this arena there are a bunch of strong fabrications aside from Emblem Lucina, who is the first boss I'm fighting that has 2 revival stones, and she has an array of weapons that counter a lot of unit types, as well as double almost everyone if she's not using the Parthia. And since Lucina is emblem engaged with the air, I temporarily give Alear the Sharina S bond ring. Since I'm still lacking skills and the map is lacking any special terrain to take advantage of, I'm almost purely fighting on numerical terms with our statistically stronger opponents that also get reinforcements, which is a complete recipe for disaster. For example, here's my most magically resistant unit versus the Thoron-wielding mages. I'm limited to deploying 5 additional units, yet I stubbornly stick with the characters I've been using for a long time, despite having recruited superior units in the last few chapters. And even so, I still decided to have a crack at the Princess Exalt. We head to the right side first and then immediately retreat to our starting position due to the Thoron mages coming at us as part of the first wave with the foremost axe fabrications. Thanks to the tactical retreat, we were able to defeat the closest 2 enemies on our right by turn 3. Importantly, Alcris bonded with Lyn enough to access her Speed Taker skill. Enough speed was stacked over the course of the map that Alcris became the only unit in my current team to not get doubled by any enemy. Eventually, the Armor Knights reach our vicinity and we eliminate the last of the first wave opponents before things got out of hand. But this reprieve didn't last long as the fabrications with tomahawks caught up too. Despite this, we took out the tomahawks one at a time and fended off the armors with Yunaka's dodge tanking as we made our way to the bottom right corner, until we were ready to wipe both out. For now, all that's left is Lucina, who is willing to wait for us, and at this point I had jumped 2 timelines and got hit with 3 deaths. Once I was ready to fight her, I sent out my war declaration with Astrastorm. In response, she calls reinforcements from each stair tile and telegraphs her engage attack, even though it wouldn't slay any of my characters compared to her attacking normally. But even then, I chose to prioritize eliminating the new threats by taking down the foes on the right first and breaking one of Lucina's revival stones in the process. Just when I thought things were going up, a 3rd set of reinforcements appear from the 2 northern stairs, and of course they're Wolf Knights, the freaking units that gave me the most trouble in the previous chapter. Despite having the ability to take down the one near us, there was no way I was able to do it safely without Lucina unaliving someone. Of course I had the free staff, but Jean was never able to succeed in keeping Lucina checked. So I tried other means like retreating to the south or proceeding beyond one of Alcris's deaths. However, those ideas didn't get me much further and before I knew it, I exhausted all my time crystal charges. At that point, I planned on making sacrifices, but I also forgot to keep Alear protected, and that resulted in my first game over. I'm then prompted to retry from the beginning, and I do so, staying with the same roster but giving them additional tonics. Things go about the same way for the starting turns, but after a grueling first attempt, I completely forgot how I initially handled the first set of enemies, and I got completely overwhelmed. So by the 5th turn, I use a function of the Draconic Time Crystal called turning my Nintendo Switch off to help preserve what sanity I had left, and to leave the map for another day. As a result, I had gone through a total of 16 timelines and 13 deaths for 0 gain.